I never thought I'd be standing in my backyard at midnight, staring at our shredded wedding photos scattered across the bottom of a trash can. My hands trembled as I picked up the torn pieces, my husband Michael beaming at the altar, our first dance, the cake cutting, 10 years of memories deliberately destroyed. The security camera footage showed my sister-in-law Amanda letting herself in with her spare key while I was working my shift at the hospital. She walked straight to our photo wall, methodically took down every frame, and disappeared into the backyard. The cameras caught her tearing each photo with careful precision, like she was performing surgery rather than destroying memories. "Amanda, what have you done?" I whispered, gathering the fragments. My phone buzzed with an incoming text. "I have proof you're cheating on my brother. $30,000 in my account by midnight tomorrow, or Michael sees everything. Your choice, Diana." I sank onto the patio steps, my scrubs still smelling of hospital disinfectant after my 12-hour 8-hour shift. Michael was away at a medical conference in Boston, presenting his research on pediatric cancer treatments. We'd been doing the long-distance thing for 3 months during his fellowship, and it hadn't been easy. But cheating, the accusation was absurd. Another text arrived. "Don't bother denying it. I have photos." My hands shook as I tried calling Michael, but it went straight to voicemail. He was probably still in sessions. Amanda had timed this perfectly. She knew he'd be unreachable. I'd never understood why Amanda hated me. When Michael and I started dating during our medical residency, she'd seemed supportive. But after our wedding, everything changed. The snide comments started. The accidental exclusions from family events. The way she cornered Michael at every opportunity, whispering about how I wasn't good enough for their family. Our mother-in-law, Margaret, enabled it all, always taking Amanda's side. "She's just protective of her brother," she'd say. "You need to be more understanding, Diana." Understanding of what? The constant undermining, the subtle sabotage. I scrolled through my phone to the security app, downloading the footage of Amanda's break-in. The timestamp was clear, 7:43 p.m. to 8:12 p.m. 29 minutes to methodically destroy a decade of memories. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a photo, me hugging someone in what looked like a hotel lobby. The image was grainy, taken from a distance. The man's face wasn't visible, but with his height and build, he could have been Michael. "There's more where this came from," Amanda texted. "Much more compromising. How do you think Michael will react?" I knew exactly what she was doing. The photo was from last week, when I'd met with Detective Martinez at the Marriott to discuss Amanda's increasingly erratic behavior. The detective had suggested meeting somewhere private after I'd filed a report about Amanda's harassment. "You're making a mistake, Amanda," I typed back. "Those photos aren't what you think. $30,000. Midnight tomorrow. Or I destroy your marriage like you destroy these photos." I picked up another torn fragment. Our honeymoon in Hawaii. Michael and I laughing on the beach. The paper was still damp from the evening dew, the image blurring where moisture had seeped in. Just like our marriage would blur and fade if I let Amanda's lies take hold. My phone rang, startling me. Michael's face lit up my screen. "Hey love." His voice was tired but warm. "Just got out of the last session. Everything okay? You called earlier?" I opened my mouth to tell him everything, but Amanda's threat echoed in my mind. What if she had doctored photos? What if she could make Michael doubt me even for a moment? "Diana? You there?" "Yeah, sorry, just missing you." I forced my voice to stay steady. "How was your presentation?" "Went great. The research is really promising." He paused. "You sure you're okay? You sound off." "Just tired. Long shift." I wasn't lying about that part. "When do you get back?" "Sunday morning. Mom's planning a big family dinner to celebrate the presentation. You'll be there, right?" Sunday dinner. Of course Margaret would plan that. It would give Amanda the perfect audience for whatever she was planning. Wouldn't miss it, I said, my mind already racing. 4 days. I had 4 days to figure out how to handle this before Michael came home. "Get some rest. Love. I'll call you tomorrow." After we hung up, I sat in the dark backyard for a long time, piecing together fragments of photos like a puzzle. Some were beyond saving, but others could be restored, just like my marriage. I wasn't going to let Amanda destroy either. My phone buzzed one final time that night. "Tick-tock, Diana. The clock's running." I looked at the security footage again, at Amanda's calculated movements as she destroyed our memories. Then I opened my contacts and scrolled to Detective Martinez's number. Amanda wanted to play games. Fine, but she was about to learn she wasn't the only one who could gather evidence. As I dialed the detective's number, I caught my reflection in the patio door, still in my scrubs, hair messy from my shift, surrounded by torn photos. I barely recognized myself, but the woman staring back at me had steel in her eyes. Detective Martinez? It's Diana Wilson. Remember those concerns I had about my sister-in-law? Well, she just made a big mistake. The next morning, I arrived at Detective Martinez's office with a manila envelope full of evidence, security footage, screenshots of Amanda's texts, and a detailed timeline of her escalating behavior over the past year. The detective reviewed everything carefully, her expression growing more serious with each page. "This is clear-cut extortion," she said, tapping the text messages and breaking and entering. "The security footage is particularly damning." She looked up at me. "But you haven't told your husband yet?" I shook my head. Michael's already stressed about his research fellowship. And honestly, I'm afraid Amanda will somehow twist this around, make me look like I'm attacking her. She's always been good at playing the victim. Like the Christmas incident, Detective Martinez referenced her notes, when she claimed you'd ruined dinner by working your ER shift. Even though she knew months in advance I was scheduled for the holiday rotation, she waited until everyone was seated, then made this big show of being heartbroken that I chose work over family. I rubbed my temples, remembering Margaret's disappointed looks. Michael defended me then, but Amanda's gotten better at manipulation since. My phone buzzed, another text from Amanda. 18 hours left. Hope you're good at math, doctor. $30,000 divided by 18 hours equals running out of time. I showed the detective the message. She's getting bolder. Good. Let her keep digging that hole. Detective Martinez pulled out a form. We're going to set up a sting, but I need you to play along for now. Can you do that? I thought about our torn wedding photos, about Amanda's smug certainty that she could destroy my marriage. Just tell me what you need. The next few hours were a blur of preparation. The detectives team set up recording equipment and walked me through the plan. I'd arranged to meet Amanda, wearing a wire. Once she accepted the money and explicitly stated her blackmail terms, they'd move in. What about the photos she claims to have? I asked. If they exist, they're likely surveillance photos like the one from the hotel. We'll find her photographer. The detective's smile was grim. People like your sister-in-law don't usually work alone. That night, I lay awake in our empty bed, staring at the blank spaces on the walls where our photos had hung. Michael called around midnight, his voice excited about his research breakthrough. I listened, making appropriate encouraging sounds, while my stomach churned with guilt about keeping secrets. I can't wait to tell everyone on Sunday, he said. Mom's invited the whole family, even Uncle Peter's flying in. Uncle Peter, Margaret's brother who'd never approved of Amanda's husband. The same Uncle Peter who managed the family trust. Suddenly, pieces started clicking into place. The next morning, I called Margaret's housekeeper, Sophia. She'd worked for the family for 20 years and saw everything. More importantly, she had a grudge against Amanda for trying to get her fired last year. Mrs. Diana, Sophia's voice was cautious. Is this about Miss Amanda's money troubles? Money troubles. Her husband lost everything in some bad investments. They're selling their house, but quietly. Miss Amanda's been begging Mrs. Margaret for loans, but Sophia hesitated. There's no money left to give. Mrs. Margaret spent it all on Miss Amanda's shopping sprees and vacations over the years. The final piece fell into place. Amanda didn't want to destroy my marriage. She needed cash fast. The photos, the blackmail, it was all desperate theater. I called Detective Martinez with my theory. Amanda knows Uncle Peter's coming to dinner Sunday. He controls the family trust, and the annual review is next week. If my marriage falls apart publicly, the family would rally around her instead of questioning her spending. The detective finished. Clever, but not clever enough. We modified our plan. Instead of meeting for the exchange, I sent Amanda a text. Need more time to get the money. Can we meet Sunday before dinner? I'll bring cash. Her response was immediate. Fine. Mom's house, 4 p.m. Come alone or Michael gets an interesting email during his morning session. I forwarded her response to Detective Martinez, then called Sophia back. I need one more favor. Sunday afternoon, I parked in Margaret's driveway at exactly 4 p.m. Amanda was waiting in the garden, pacing nervously. She'd lost weight since I'd last seen her, her designer clothes hanging slightly loose. "Where's the money?" she demanded before I even closed my car door. "Nice to see you too, Amanda." I perched on the garden bench, careful to angle my body so the detective's surveillance van had a clear view. "Lovely day for destroying someone's marriage, isn't it?" "Don't play games. Do you have it or not?" "Actually, I have something better." I pulled out my phone, showing her the security footage. "You know what the penalty for breaking and entering is in this state? Add extortion, harassment." She laughed, but I caught the tremor in her voice. "Please, it's my brother's house too. I had a key." Had being the operative word. "We changed the locks yesterday. Oh, and Michael's name isn't on the deed. We kept the house in my name for tax purposes." Something about my higher income as an ER attending versus his research fellowship. Amanda's face went pale. "You're bluffing." "Like you're bluffing about those photos." I stood up, brushing off my slacks. "Sophia told me about the house you're selling. About the money troubles. Tell me, does Uncle Peter know where his trust fund contributions really went?" "You bitch," she whispered. "You've been investigating me." "No, Amanda. I've been protecting my family. There's a difference." I started walking toward the house. "Better hurry and change for dinner. Detective Martinez will be here soon with some interesting questions about your photographer friend." "Wait." Her voice cracked. "Please, I can explain everything." I turned back, seeing not the polished, manipulative sister-in-law, but a desperate woman watching her world crumble. "Sunday dinner starts in an hour," I said quietly. "I suggest you use that time to decide what kind of explanation you're going to give your brother." As I walked into the house, I heard car doors slamming in the distance. Right on schedule, Detective Martinez's team was moving in. I touched the blank wall where Margaret used to hang family photos, thinking of my own torn pictures at home. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed, but sometimes breaking something is the only way to build something stronger in its place. I heard Michael's car in the driveway. Time for dinner. Sunday dinner at the Wilson family table had always been a carefully choreographed performance. Tonight was no different, except for the unmarked police car parked discreetly down the street. Michael sat beside me, still glowing from his successful presentation. He hadn't noticed Amanda's red-rimmed eyes or the way Margaret's hands shook as she served the roast. Uncle Peter, however, hadn't missed a thing. "Amanda dear," he said, cutting into his meat, "I heard you're selling your house." Surprising, given the generous trust disbursements. Amanda choked on her wine. Margaret quickly jumped in. "Peter, this isn't the time." "Actually," I interrupted, pulling out my phone, "this is exactly the time. Michael, there's something you need to see." Before Amanda could object, I played the security footage. The table fell silent as they watched Amanda methodically destroying our wedding photos. Michael's fork clattered against his plate. "Amanda." His voice was barely a whisper. "What is this?" "It's not what it looks like," Amanda stammered. "I was trying to protect you." "Diana, she's been." "Meeting with Detective Martinez?" I finished. "Yes, I have." "Would you like to tell everyone why, or should I?" The doorbell rang. Margaret jumped up, but Sophia was already opening the door. Detective Martinez stepped in, holding a manila envelope. "Mrs. Wilson," she nodded to me. "We found Amanda's photographer. He was quite cooperative once we explained the penalties for conspiracy to commit extortion." Michael looked between his sister and me, confusion turning to understanding. "The photos you've been hinting about, the ones you said would destroy my marriage, they were staged." "She needed money," I explained gently. "The trust fund was empty, thanks to years of Margaret covering Amanda's spending. When she found out Uncle Peter was coming to review the accounts." "You tried to blackmail my wife." Michael stood so abruptly his chair toppled backward. "Our wedding photos, Amanda, 10 years of memories." I was desperate. Amanda burst into tears. "Greg lost everything in those investments. The house is in foreclosure. Mom can't help anymore, and I thought if I could create a scandal, Uncle Peter would." "Would what?" Uncle Peter's voice was ice. "Overlook the hundreds of thousands missing from your trust. Money meant for your children's education, spent on designer clothes and luxury cars." Margaret tried to reach for Amanda's hand, but Amanda pulled away. I never meant. Diana wasn't supposed to fight back. She was supposed to just pay. Because that's what she always does, isn't it? Michael's voice was quiet. Takes your abuse, your snide comments, your constant undermining. And we all let it happen. He turned to our mother-in-law. Didn't we, Mom? Margaret collapsed into her chair, aging years in moments. I just wanted to keep the peace. Amanda was always so fragile, and Diana was so strong. Strong doesn't mean invulnerable, I said softly. And enabling bad behavior isn't love, Margaret, it's cowardice. Detective Martinez cleared her throat. Miss Wilson, we'll need you to come down to the station to make a formal statement. Amanda looked around the table wildly, seeking an ally. Finding none, her shoulders slumped. Can I have a moment with my brother first? Michael shook his head. Not tonight, Amanda. I can't even look at you right now. As Detective Martinez led Amanda out, Uncle Peter turned to Margaret. The trust review is canceled. I'm dissolving Amanda's portion and establishing direct funds for her children's education. And Margaret, you're removed as co-trustee, effective immediately. After they left, Michael and I stood in Margaret's kitchen, the silence heavy between us. Sophia quietly began clearing dishes, pretending not to watch us. I should have told you everything immediately, I said. But I was afraid that I wouldn't believe you. He pulled me close. Diana, you've spent 10 years loving this family, despite everything. I'm the one who should be sorry. I knew how they treated you, and I let it slide because it was easier than confronting it. Mrs. Diana? Sophia appeared with a small box. I saved these from Miss Amanda's purse while she was in the garden. Not all of them, but inside were fragments of our wedding photos, carefully collected. They're pretty damaged, I sighed, touching a torn edge. Michael picked up a piece showing us dancing at our reception. So we'll take new ones. Better ones. Without the shadows this time. He kissed my forehead. Let's go home. As we drove away from Margaret's house, I saw her standing alone in her window, watching us leave. The security footage had shown more than Amanda's betrayal. It had exposed the cracks in a family built on appearances and enamelment. You know, Michael said as we turned onto our street, I hear there's an excellent photographer who specializes in family portraits. Maybe we could book a session. I squeezed his hand. I'd like that. But this time, we keep the spare keys to ourselves. That night, as we lay in bed, Michael scrolled through old photos on his phone. Look what I found, he said, showing me a picture from our first date. Some memories can't be torn up. I snuggled closer, thinking of Amanda in her police statement room, Margaret in her empty house, and Uncle Peter with his trust documents. Family isn't just about blood or marriage. It's about truth, boundaries, and sometimes having the courage to break something broken to build something true. I love you, Michael whispered, torn photos and all. I love you too, I replied. Now, about those new family portraits.